In this sport, I want to someday be in the Olympics.
We started off Kat in Taekwondo wanting her to have some physical activity and some self-defense. Every dad wants his little girl to be able to defend herself, so that's how we got started.
When I was like 3 years old, my mom decided that I was going to do Taekwondo, or I was going to try it at least. So she took me to this Taekwondo school, and I started it, I tried it, I really, really loved it. And then around like 6 years old, I started competing in sparring, forms, and breaking boards. And then I went to a whole bunch of tournaments, and then when I was 8 years old, I went down to this training camp in Florida, and that's where I met Master Bailey.
When we first found Master Bailey and Total Taekwondo and Fitness, we were living 3.5 hours away in Cleveland, and one of the issues we had was that Kat was competing on a national level and didn't have a coach, because her Taekwondo instructor would teach her, but wasn't going to the big tournaments. And I found myself coaching her, which wasn't a good thing for our father-daughter relationship or for her win-loss record.
I was still feeling out process, like would she be determined and sacrifice, as a kid, give up those things of summers and, having fun, and just would she have that dedication? So when I saw her changing and maturing, I knew right away that she was in this for the long term.
Every weekend for about a year, we would drive down 3 or 4 hours to Dayton to train on her team. And then we would go to tournaments and everything and train with her. And then after that, we decided that we were actually going to move here.
I didn't know at the time that they were actually, really going to commit and come. And then when they started driving, I was like, wow, they're dedicated to drive 3.5 hours here for a 2-hour practice and then 3.5 hours home the same day, and then I knew, okay, they're serious about this.
When your child starts Taekwondo, one of the first things you hear from the other parents is, it's not a question of if, but when you're going to get hurt. Injuries are part of the sport as much as we try to prevent them. And one of the requirements at Total Taekwondo and Fitness is that you have an outside training program.
Our guys need to have strength and conditioning, and me, I don't want to spend time on that when they can get that from somewhere else that honestly knows better than me.
I went to the sports performance program after seeing it on a brochure after getting treatment for my concussion.
I met Kat through our actual flyer. She saw a familiar face in the area named Aziza Chambers, who is a big name in Taekwondo, especially in the area. And she's like, if Aziza's doing this program, I have to do this program. And she reached out immediately down here.
We chose Premier Sports Medicine. We chose their training program. We chose their trainers because they had a background in the sports. They understand the physiology behind the body. They understand the growing athlete. And they understand the overall concept of having a healthy body rather than just concentrating on the 1 or 2 motions you may need for your sport.
A lot of other programs are not run by medical professionals. So we have a different aspect of thinking because I'm trying to decrease the likelihood of further injury, improve her injuries that she already has, while building strength and improving her athletic performance.
So everything they did, they looked at her, they evaluated her, they saw where she was. They didn't try to put her into a prepackaged program. As much as they have their program, they worked with her, they looked at what her goals were, they looked at videos of her fighting, they saw what her sport was, they saw what she was doing, what she was capable of doing, and where they saw weaknesses.
Kat has had a history of kind of small injuries that's compiled over her career, and we add a rehabilitation component to her workouts, working on balance, working on small muscle strength that other people don't really have the experience and knowledge to work on. And we kind of push her to a new set of exercises that's not your typical go into the weight room and see how much you can lift.
Premier Health Sports Performance has done great with her explosiveness, her agility, just her speed.
Definitely her balance. Day one, she could barely stand on one leg, and now she can stand on one leg repeatedly on unstable surfaces for up to however long you want. She can stand there all day. She was very one-legged dominant when I first met her, because Taekwondo is a sport where you plant on one leg and you have a kicking leg, and that causes a lot of hip problems in Taekwondo athletes. And we kind of managed that when I first met her, and she's just equal strength bilaterally now, and her balance is very, very good. I'm reaching out to her father all the time at tournaments. He's reaching out to me, telling me how she's doing. I've watched a couple of her fights online. I try to connect with all my athletes like that.
I think this is the best conditioning she's ever been.
I am definitely a better athlete now that I've done the sports performance program.
The biggest thing is that Premier Health has become such a part of Kat's life. I'd say her training, but it's really her life. She goes, and they're proud of her, what she's accomplishing. She really likes working with them. The conditioning and the goals she reached. We thought that she was at a peak level when we first went to Premier Health. And we look back a year after being with the program, after working with Lucas, and realizing that it was just beginning, and that the progress she's made has just been incredible.